friends. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Hello, friends. It is me, Lady Hell, the interventionist. And today I am coming with you because I have finally did the last project, which is the internship project, which is project 7.00.8. And I'm going to use this as a guide. So if you've been watching from the beginning, from project 1 all the way to project 8, this last particular project, this was the last project that I never completed when I first started my program. Remember, I told you I needed to complete my PPR and also the internship project, but you can't do the internship project until school starts. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna show you, guide you how to do it. There is a link in the description there that has a link to my project there. I'm gonna remind you on my project, it's one thing that I forgot to put on there, but I still got a passing grade, and as long as you get a passing grade, you can pass. So I didn't go back and correct it, but I'll show you what I didn't correct so you can get an even higher grade, and make sure you put that in your thing, because they still gave me a passing grade. All right, so here we go. I'm sure to. And I wish I had the lady drink that sent me this. The lady, she sent me this stuff right here. It's a Plexus. I don't sell this stuff, so it's actually pretty decent. I just put it in my little drink. It's supposed to stop you from getting hungry. So let's see. So let's go to the screen. Okay. When I go to my screen, I need to do a screen capture, and I need to capture where I'm at. Oh, okay. So I'm going to say okay. All right. So let's go to Texas Teachers. Okay. So we're going to go TexasTeachers.com. That is portal. There we go. This. Or not that. I'm going to log into the portal, okay? And when we go to menu, I'm going to go to training progress. And as you see, I've done all the required courses, okay? From there, I've done my field-based experience, my supplemental courses, all that I had to do. The internship project, okay? So as you see, I completed it on the 31st. I don't know if it'll still let me go to it or not, but when you, I don't know how to go to it. I think because I've done it, it won't let me go to the thing, okay? But when you do this, because I forgot, it's like Canvas something. It's Canvas. Let me go to it that way. Okay. I don't know if this, it's not letting me do it, y'all. So I guess because since I'm like done, I can't do it. So it doesn't let me go back in there, but basically it's the instructional cycle. And when you go inside the instructional cycle, let me go to it because I just uploaded it here. Or let me just go on my drive and find it. All right, here we go. So when you go there, basically you're gonna need something that's showing, how you're gonna use your data. So it's a test. It's any type of instruction, and so you're gonna use your data, and then you need to tell them how, with the results of whatever is being assessed, how are you going to help your kids to master it, basically. Okay. So this one I titled mine "Preparing to Use the Data for Planning a Project." Okay. So when I start off, I basically start off was what I'm going to plan for instruction. All right. Cause I'm doing special education. I do special education and I teach 6th grade. So I will plan the instruction for a broad group of students in this planned lessons, including those who are in the 6th grade. The types of students that are serviced are on level, gifted, and talented special education and 504. Now, I put that because I service children in the 6th grade. I'm a co-teacher, so I co-teach in an ELAR setting. And in this period, which is my first period, which is one of my periods that I do, I have one gifted and talented student in there. I have the rest who are on level. I have 504 students, and I also have special education students, which includes students who have various learning disabilities. Okay, so I let that be the first thing that was known inside of my project there. Okay, so I let that be known. Let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it as well. So option, command. All right. Okay. So let's skip this. So I put, Jesus, come back a little bit. There we go. So we all can see. All right. So in here, I made sure that I used the TEAC. So the targeted TEAC was 6.7b, which focused on the character's internal and external responses, drive to plot and determine details to support conclusions in a literary text. So basically, this can be anything, okay? You can do this on the common formative assessment. You can do this on the summative assessment. You can do this on something as simple as even an exit ticket to even gauge whether or not the student grabbed the concept, okay? So I put the TEAC that I was using. From there, I went and I put that I put the assessment that I was going to use, okay? And so what I use for the assessment is called a norm reference test, which is also called a MAPS test, okay? So the MAPS test basically adjusts to the children's learning, and it's kind of like equivalent to what some people would call like a benchmark or something like that. So they take one at the beginning of the year, mid-year, and then they take one just a little bit before the start. The results of this is very accurate, but it also can show you if the child is growing or if they're regressing. And not only that, it also shows you if they are on target to meet the STAR requirements or they are not. So that's what the MAP testing is. Again, your test, you can use any test that you want to use, or even something as simple as an exit ticket. You can use that as well. Okay. So that's the measurement that I was going to use, right? And and I told them, after I put the measurements, I told like the expectation. I want to make sure that each of my students can successfully engage in the curriculum and realize their field potential by utilizing these statistics to inform my lesson, okay? So then I go on and explain what's the MAP test, etc. I show what the MAP test was going to do. It identify supporting details in literary. It's going to show if they can make inferences about characters and their motivation. It's going to analyze the role of the characters' internal and external responses and development, okay? And then I went on to say, okay, this is how this is given, and I put our school administers the MAP test 3 times per year, once at the start of the year, once in the middle, and once in the end. And then, and I told them this is when the initial test given, okay? And this is the area 6.7b was where it showed that our students can use improvement, okay? So I go on into all of that, right? And then I also tells how it relates to the STAR. And then I put, during the semester, we'll focus on these skills during our instruction. So I'm telling them during instruction, we're going to use more like kind of like spiraling or whatever and address this information. So here we go. These were the results from test 1, right? And of course, when you're doing your result, obviously you're not supposed to put any of your students' name or anything like that. You just identify the student if they are special education or whatever. You just put what type of need they have. Like I have student A is a 504 student with dyslexia. Student B is has a learning disability and also has dysgraphia. Okay. Student C is special education. And so this is a real life look at a co-teach class and the different learning disability or whatever. So this, another student is SLD, and they also have a disability in reading expression. If it's just like student L, student M, that means that the student does not have any type of learning disability. But make sure in your, I screenshotted what I was doing, but just make sure that inside of that of course you are not revealing any student's name or anything like this, because these are actually real people, and obviously you wouldn't want your kids' stuff revealed on the internet, right? So we never reveal our students' information, okay? Because you are dealing with real life situations. That's why this is only done during your intern year. It's not like, oh, I can do it over the summer. It's only open for a certain amount of period, okay? So now these are the results. So I had these students right here were in the low performers. These were the low average. These were the average. These were the high average. And these were my high students, okay? And so my two high students, one was dyslexic in 504, and the other one was a SPED GT student. They performed high and had a very high number. Even my high average student, I have one of my SPED children who were there. Two, the average ones, these were, they don't have any learning disabilities. And low average was, I had two did not have disabilities, two of them did. Okay, and both of them was SLD, and both had written expression issues. And then here were all the low ones. And in this low one, student A was 504, so they're not necessarily have SPED, but they are dyslexic. This one, this student here has dysgraphia, but the disability wouldn't affect the score, okay? But the LD, which is a learning disability, that probably would affect the score because it's a typed exam, okay? But they do have a learning disability. This student just has an emotional disturbance. So with my emotional disturbance kids, is going to depend on the day how they're going to perform on how they're going to perform on the test. It's going to depend on how they feel. This student has a specific learning disability with written expression in reading, okay? And this one is reading in written expression. And of course, with these probably probably three of them, I forgot what period it was, but this particular one is about right. But however, they still, even though they're not expected necessarily to meet STAR, but all from the results from here in the winter results, all of them have grown at least by 10 points, which has shown us they in less than a year, they have made a significant amount of progress, okay? I'm just telling you how to interpret that, all right? So, as a result of I told them the results. I put only 2 were at the level where 9 did not complete on. I broke down the results. Okay, and so I just did a paragraph, wrote that down. All right, and so this part right here is I need to add. I didn't have to, but I need to add what I was going to do in class and how, right? I didn't add that part. And that was the part they was like, okay, if you want to resubmit this, you need to tell us, let me pull up the screen. I'll pull up the screen in just a second, and you guys can see the screenshot of what they told me, because I can't go back to it. I tried to, but I can't. You know how to say, I tried, but I can't go back. Hold on. But I did take a screenshot of what she said right there. And I should have took a screenshot of the whole stupid thing, and I didn't. So I'm just going to say open with preview. Okay, because everything else I got proficient, and then I had 10 out of 10 in the writing. I was like, what? Because I never get no 10 out of 10 in writing, but I did. What? Okay, so let me go here. Holy Spirit. Let me go to the menu. Okay, so we're just gonna switch the screen for a second. Preview. Okay, so you can see what I'm saying. Okay. So I took a screenshot because I probably knew I wasn't going to be able to go back and look at the thing. So when I took a screenshot, this is what it said, y'all. It said this. It says, you have addressed the overall structure of your reteaching and targeted teaching, but what specific strategies will you use? Name the skills / knowledge you will address based upon data and TEKS. Then explain the strategy you will use to reteach. These are the ones that connect to the conceptual knowledge to your discipline. Right. Okay. So basically what they were saying there was, okay, Lady Hell, you have this beautiful assignment, and you told us that you were going to use and I'll get back to that as well. And they was like, you told us that you were going to use bell ringers or whatever I said I was going to use. You're going to use you was going to use a daily bell ringers to reteach, to use as a reteaching model, and also as a spiraling model. And I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna show y'all what I mean. Okay, so we go back in here. Okay, so I thought I was explicit, but I guess I wasn't. I didn't necessarily connect it to something. I don't know, but I told him, I said, the next 2 months will be critical for the classroom as it prepares for the winter administration of the MAPS test. With such a diverse group of students, including gifted and talented students as well as special education students, it is critical that all students understand the material covered by the Texas TEKS 6.7b to help achieve this goal. I promise you I thought I addressed this, but I guess I didn't. To help achieve this goal, daily warm-ups will be implemented at the start of each class. These warm-ups will allow students to review and reinforce key concepts from TEKS 6.7b, assisting in the development and understanding and preparing them for the upcoming MAPS test. Then I said, I will ensure that all students will have the necessary foundation by utilizing these daily warm-ups. So I'm like, I'm going to use daily warm-ups. All right, so I said incorporating daily warm-ups into my lesson plan is a critical step towards ensuring that each student in my class will have the necessary skills. And I wasn't specific. I guess I wasn't specific because even though I said they would have the necessary skills, I didn't say what skills. I didn't say what I would do, okay? So that's what they was like. That's why she was like, hey, you want to add this, da-da-da-da, woo-woo, right? And I'm like, girl, I ain't finna add that. You gave me a passing score. Bloop, pass. Anyway, so when you're because in my head I'm describing what I want, but they want to see the what or the how. So just make sure you add that, okay, in there, and you'll get a high grade of me. So I put incorporating daily warm-ups into the lesson plan. I maybe should have said, for example, whatever I'm going to use, right? Because we're actually in our class, in our school at large, we're doing a whole initiative where we're going to be what they call it 5. So the first 5 minutes of class, we're going to basically do a warm-up or bell ringer or whatever, and we're going to do it across the board to kind of help reinforce those skills. That's why I was like, so in my head, that's what we doing. So I said we're going to do warm-ups to have this, and I said I am confident that by taking this proactive approach, I am setting my students up for success. And so then you had to put your research, right? And so this was my research, and it was about memorization and things of that nature. Okay, remember I told you already before that you can use Google Scholar. Those are free, but ChatGPT has an awesome, and I know many like, what, you can use ChatGPT? Oh yeah, sure did right there. And when I turned it in, it was only 3%. It didn't come up like stupid or something like that. But you use it when you're using ChatGPT in your research papers. You have to use it as a base, because if you just copy and paste it, that's stupid. Don't do that. But use it as a base. And like I just put in ChatGPT. I asked, can you tell me some an educational journal that was published about repetition? I was very specific about what I wanted, right? And so it came up that a study by J.R. Anderson, published in the Journal of Education Psychology in the year of 2000, so it's very recent, highlights the significance of spaced repetition and distributed practice in enhancing long-time retention of information and improve transfer to new situations. Anderson emphasized the spacing effect is a well-established phenomenon supported by a multitude of studies with diverse stimuli and tasks. These findings highlights the crucial role of spacing in memory and its significant implication for the education field. This research underscores the value of incorporating daily warm-ups and frequent review of opportunities in the classroom to aid student learning and strengthen retention of skills. Boom, right? So this was all, I ain't gonna say this was all Chat GPT, but the majority, some of this right here, this part was, when it came to the research. And then I also asked it, hey, can you cite this for me in APA format? And it cited it for me in APA format. And then, of course, I put it into my own thing here. And as you see, these findings, blah, 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 whatever it was, okay? And so I said, so as an educator, I firmly believe in the power of daily warm-ups to support student learning. These warm-ups are specifically designed to review and reinforce the key concept from T 6.7b and to increase student understanding of the material. For those students who have already mastered the skill, we will include a spiraling activity. Now, let me tell you what spiraling means. So think of what a spiral. A spiral means that it's like on a journal. I don't have oh no, yes I do. You have a spiral notebook, right? And I learned this in my first year of teaching. I had some great mentors, and I have some really great mentors even now. When it comes to certain things. But anyway, this is a spiral notebook, right? And so the spiral, it goes around and around and around and around and around and around. So with the spiral going around and around and around and around, is basically you teach the content up here, you might go around, do some other stuff, but you're going to spiral right back to it, okay? So basically, when you're using spiraling as a teaching method, you can spiral with review. Some people call it reviewing or whatever, but you may be on something else. But even though you're on something else, you go back to a certain teak. That means you spiral back. And when you spiral back to check for understanding. So in special education, you're going to do a lot of spiraling, right? Because they might be way over here, but your student over here, okay? And so sometimes to get your student back to over there where they need to be, they have to do some spiraling to really emphasize that, especially those students who have memory issues or they don't have long-term memory and stuff like that, right? So if they don't have long-term memory, you have to tap into the short-term to spiral them back to the key concept of the long-term. So they'll man, I just confused myself. But so that they will understand. So it's called spiraling. So that's what kind of spiraling is. And I use it a lot, especially in special education. And then in a co-teach environment in 6th grade, it's different how you have to do it. But next year I have so much stuff that I learned a lot, but now I'm really learning how to do content and also goal work at the same time, because right now we kind of incorporate the goal work and regular content work while still trying to bring them up. And this is where your what they call lead forward. Your lead forward. I don't have my lead forward binder here. It's at school, but this is where your lead forward stuff comes. So those are those things that flow, right? Because you have standards that's going to flow across level. So if I have the standard that flows across the level, I can still bring that, whatever the 6th grade standard is. If most of my students are some of them are 2 grade level behind, but I do have some as well in a co-teach environment in the 6th grade who might be 4 grade levels behind, but they don't qualify for a life skill class or something like that. They just have a very severe learning disability. But using the lead forward, which is really great, and everybody should be using lead forward. It is awesome because I took a class at Region 11, and when we took a class with Kathy I think her name is Kathy Saddleback, something. I forgot her name, but She really breaks that down, and it's really is really good when you're using those standards that flow across, because you can still, even if they 3 grade levels behind, you can still apply the standard to their level. And even though their peers might be on that 6th grade level, well, guess what? Even if they're technically on the 3rd grade, I would level it up to maybe a 4th grade, maybe 5th, just the depending on or whatever. But you can level it up using the same standard, just on a different level, and then bring them in scaffold and bring them up, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's go back because that's what y'all really want to see anyway. All right, so there, I told them I'm going to use warm-ups. Once I told them that I used the warm-ups, I also included the research. And I said this approach not only reinforces their understanding, but I also have them identify areas where they may need additional support. In short, the use of daily warm-up creates a dynamic and inclusive learning environment that encourages student success. And then, of course, at the end, I have my reference. It didn't ask us for a whole bunch of references or anything like that, because on the example, they only use 2. They only use 1. So I only use 1. And so I hope with that, guys, with that particular breakdown, that kind of helps you with your internship project. So when they got it back and I got that thing and it was like, hey, review this and turn it, I was like, oh, okay. But then I had noticed, on my grade, I had, let me go to the screenshot, see if I can find it, because I took a screenshot of it. Oh yeah, and I know some of you like asking, well, what happened when you turned it in? Didn't it show that? And I was like, nope. I'm gonna show y'all what happened. I'm gonna go to the screen, because remember I told you I did use the ChatGPT for the research part when it came to finding one of those journals, because I wasn't finna scaffold through the whole internet. Ugh, nope. But y'all know I use, when you use technology, you gotta use technology the way it's supposed to be used, right? As a baseline. And I may do a separate video showing y'all how to. That's my mama. Hold on. Hello? Yeah. Let me do this 1 second. I need 5 minutes. I'm gonna call you right back. All right, bye. All right, so like I told y'all in the screen there, when I did the turn it in thing, it only showed that my paper was like, there we go, was 3% overall. And it was like something real crazy or whatever, but that was the only 3 things. So like I told you, if you use it, I'll tell you something, ChatGPT is a beast if you use it for the right reasons. Some people who aren't abreast in research study and stuff like that, and they don't know how to write, a dummy would only copy and paste. That would be stupid, okay? And that's academically, that's not integrity, as they would say. But however, you can use it as base. That's another thing. And because, again, it's not accurate 100%. I mean, unless you don't know what you're doing. And prompt engineering is really important because you got to be specific, because if you don't be specific, it's not going to work for you. But it can help you. It definitely can help you. Okay? Just for the record, and I wanted to show you guys that with straight transparency or whatever. So when I was done, they gave me a 40 out of 50. So on the thing, it was like 40 is a passing. And I was like, why is it telling me to add this and resubmit? And I'm looking at the score and it said 40. I said, oh, that look like a passing to me. And I emailed one of my Texas teachers' friends, and I was like, bro, like, I got a 40 out of thing, but they was like, you passed. I was like, no, I didn't, girl. They telling me to redo it. And so I said, let me call. So I called and I talked to the liaison person, and I was like, hey, I got a 40 out of 50, and it says a 40 is a passing like that. She said, yes, that's passing. I said, so I can go and press complete? She said, you sure can. That's a passing score. I said, oh, I can. She said, yes, you can. I said, bloop. And it says course complete. And I said, okay, Okay, so what do I need to do next? And this is what they told me what I needed to do next, because y'all know I'm on my probation certificate. So while I was on my while I'm on my probation certificate, it said it's like, well, only thing you have to do now is pay your last payment for for February, and you need to get your principal's recommendation. We're going to send him a recommendation thing, and just let him know so he can go ahead and fill that out, and then you just pay more money, because as y'all know, that Texas teachers love to charge us money. So then I have to pay $78 for my standard, and then I'll actually technically have my standard, because the only thing that was missing from what I needed to do was my intern project and passing my PPR. So y'all know I passed my PPR during the summer. And finally I needed to take the time and do my internship program. Because I was like, why is my observer like taking a little long time? Because I'm supposed to get 3 observations or whatever it was. And she's like, but you might not get the 3. You just need to finish this. That's it. And I'm like, oh, that's what that lady was saying. So while it was snowing, guess what she did? She finished it. And I passed it, completed it. So now I just got to go pay for my standard, and I'm done with this dang program. It has been a long journey. So I just wanted to, I know this is like a 30-minute long thing, but my intention wasn't to be long, but the intention was to serve as a guide to help you. Again, if you check the link in the description, you're going to see the link to my project. Remember, I put in parentheses on the project also to make sure you're specific with the what, that you specify the what. Okay, so I hope that helps you guys. Thank you for all the support you guys have been given during these projects. And of course, I know that during school it can be overwhelming, because like you, I'm teaching every day. I'm preparing art every day. I'm making plaques and all types of stuff. Tons of training, a lot of things like that. So going forward, I'm gonna definitely even show you how to plan with your team, right? Because sometimes we get in our spare corner, and you have to really involve yourself and put yourself in that process, make suggestion, help with the curriculum, because they need it. Not only just our special education students need it, but the general education students need it. Okay. My next video, I'm going to share something with you about RTI, 504, and SPED. Okay. 3 different ones. Everybody has tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 interventions when it comes to RTI, which stands for response to interventions. Then you have 504. Though, that right there, they've been to tier 2, tier 3, and now we have 504, because they don't necessarily might not need SPED services, but these accommodations is going to help this student progress in the curriculum and progress in life, and progress throughout their and so they might just need the annual review of the accommodation. Okay, and then you're like, oh, this child don't know, this child need goals, this child need this child needs that. So then you're gonna get into SPED. Okay, so those are the 3 levels of intervention. You have RTI, 504, and SPED. Okay, and so I share with y'all because this is important too. If a student is an RTI student, you are able to give them certain, the accommodations and stuff. And not only that, even though they're not classified as 504, they're not classified as SPED, they're going to be able to use those tools even in a testing environment. Oh, I learned that this year. That changed the way I look at a lot of things, because sometimes parents are like, I want my kid being on 504. I want my kid being SPED. Okay, but they need these accommodations. They need this stuff, right? So if we RTI parent signature, okay, they're not SPED, they're not 504, but at least we can still help our students succeed in the academic environment. So hope that helps you. God bless you all, and thank y'all so much. If you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more intervention from Lady Health, the interventionist. Happy New Year.